Hello, my name is Mark Hasselbell. I'm a game audio designer from Denmark. And that is, in its essence, the framework for this video. Game audio in Denmark. I'm of the strong belief that creatively rooted social spaces and communities, whether it's out there, online, or a mixture of both, needs to be shared and cared for, and documented for others to enjoy and take inspiration from. I would like to celebrate one of the communities that I am a part of, namely the game audio community in Denmark, and a specific social gathering that is taking place inside it for the last 5 or so years. It's called Game Audio Playthrough. I will let Daniel and Nikolaj, who started Game Audio Playthrough, explain it.
So Game Audio Playthrough is kind of a bi-monthly event that has been going on for 5 years now, which is quite amazing to think about. We invite sound designers and composers and sound artists in to tell about the game and where they go through the process on how they make the sounds. And the core concept of Game Audio Playthrough is that we play the game and we have a person in to talk about the game while we play the game. So we have a Game Audio Playthrough.
Yeah, and we don't have like any strict guidelines. It can be just whatever comes into the mind of the person working on the game, or it can be like more of a keynote presentation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about like the aesthetics, the high level stuff, and sometimes we go like really into detail about audio implementation and systems and stuff like that. So it's like super diverse what we do.
Definitely.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Game Audio Playthrough is just the people getting together. So like pretty informal, that we just get to meet all our Danish colleagues, because most of us work like as the only or like a few sound designers at studios or freelance. So we don't talk to a lot of audio people, and also we have NDA, so we can't talk a lot. So it's super nice getting together and talk about the things you can, and seeing the people who do presentations, seeing like their approach and getting inspired, because you work in your own little bubble along. So just and also just the social aspect, because I mean sometimes it's a bit of a lonely job, even though I enjoy it. But
it definitely feels like that there's something really magical about the game audio community, that there's a need to gather, and there's also people they want to share their knowledge with other people. So it's actually pretty easy. So it's actually pretty easy to get people to talk about their work and to get talk to you.
The concept behind Game Audio Playthrough has grown into a fantastic hub for sharing knowledge and experiences between audio-interested people in and around Denmark. And from those events and interests grew a separate but related organ, the association called Game Audio Denmark, which now organizes the Game Audio Playthrough events and includes a slew of other people other than Daniel and Nikolaj. As I started to gather information and talking to people about this, I realized the story doesn't necessarily start with Game Audio Playthrough. There was, not surprisingly, gatherings and communities with a focus on game audio before Game Audio Playthrough was a thing. I knew of previous gatherings hosted by composers and sound designers Stig Andersen and Hans Christian Koch, but it was before I started attending these meetups. So I talked to Stig Andersen about their earlier meetups and the reason they had for making them.
It was actually inspired, maybe you want to dive into that. It was inspired by when I started working with games, so that's been in 2008-9. There was an AI-SIG audio special interest group, and it was run by Nevin, Tuna, Erönde. She was working at Unity at the time, actually, so there has been like meetups there back in the day. I remember I did one with Limbo, actually, but it was at Unity, but it was like a very small room and just in some sacked chairs. I think we were like maximum 10 people around a laptop. So it was actually going on when I started. That disappeared over time. We had a couple of meetings again, all organized by Nevin. But we were working on inside. We had the idea to do a kind of a meetup, because we kind of felt there was with Isaac not doing meetups anymore, there was like nothing going on really in Copenhagen. So we decided, and that was actually while we were in production on Inside. So I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was probably in 15 or 16. I remember we had just done the dogs in the game. So I think actually the presentation was primarily about that, because we couldn't show too much because it was still like not announced or anything. So and I did that with Jakob Schmidt at least. I can't recall if Sus Andreas was there at that point. But it was centered up around the dogs, and it was really nice. And I don't know, I think maybe we were like 20 people, as far as I remember. And then we kind of discussed afterwards that it would be nice to continue doing that. And that was actually when we, I think like by chance, it was just like Hansen and me who then created the Facebook group, so we could kind of keep in touch. And then our goal was to have like a meetup like every half year or something like that, where we could visit a studio and they could present what they were doing. But then it was like, was going to do the next one, and it was farther and farther in between the meetups, and in the end it was mostly just like meeting at a bar, drinking beers, talking about game audio. So that's the story. Yeah, definitely. At least I don't know any other places where there's so much activity going on, and obviously thanks to you guys and Daniel and Nikolaj in particular. So it's a testament to that you as a person can do a lot for a community by organizing stuff. So yeah, so I would say like currently, I don't know any other cities where you have that many like game audio events, presentations going on. So I think that's really unique. And I think also the community is growing in that regard, because it's an attractive thing. Of course we like our work and what we do, but having a community around it is really, really important. So yeah, that's something we should definitely appreciate. I feel like everything has its time. At least that's what I experienced, and I think right now is quite a unique time. So yeah, let's enjoy that.
The talk with Martin Stig led me to Nevin, Tuna, Erönde, a sound artist who also used to host game audio events before Martin Stig and Hans. So I had a chat with Nevin.
Like when you're working as a sound designer on a game project, of course you have the team that you collaborate with, but you're also very much alone with all these sound issues or philosophies around sound in computer games. So I think that was what kind of drove me to kind of build a community. But in the beginning I didn't think of it as building a community. I was just thinking of it as like, it could be really nice to meet up with some other sound designers in the Copenhagen area, and we can just get together and just have a chat about the craft. And I just thought, it could really be interesting to hear about how other people, what kind of thoughts other people have about integrating sound into games, and of course like also the challenges they will have with developers. And so I just thought it could be really nice to meet up with kindred spirits and talk about those things. It was amazing because at that time it just grew. So every time we had these meetups, there would be at least like 20 people. And considering that audio is a niche, very much a niche in the computer games industry, I was like, okay, it's pretty impressive that, you know, so many people have an interest in this, and so people are sitting on so much knowledge and experience, and that's just amazing. And it's like, so as a sound designer, you're just never alone. There's like always somebody that you can reach out to in your network.
What struck me about Martin, Stig, and Nevin's experiences is that it echoes the sentiment found in a lot of other like-minded communities. The search for peers with similar interests, approaches, the urge to find your people and to not be alone with your artistic work. The overall history of game audio in Denmark could easily be a rabbit hole worth diving further into, but the reason for making this video is to highlight the community as it exists now, and also to highlight the people who help create and care for the community at earlier stages. Communities are a fleeting and somewhat fragile structure that needs to be nurtured, kept active, adjusted, and expanded upon. And given that the game audio community in Denmark is still a very, very niche thing, it is pretty fantastic that this, with the help of the people who came before, has grown into this strong, active community. Throughout the years that I've invested in game audio, I can safely say that the game audio playthrough events has been the most stimulating and fantastic way of educating myself. I've learned so much and have the highest level of respect and admiration for all the people who are an active part of the community and who keep on wanting to share their findings. So with all the admiration I can muster, I want to say the following to everyone who is a part of the game audio community in Denmark, both in past and present. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your insight, your knowledge, and your experiences. It means the world to me, and it is in part what makes me stay afloat. And a happy 5-year anniversary to Game Audio Playthrough and all the people who make and have made it possible. May the community prosper and grow. Thank you for listening and watching, and take care. Goodbye.